Hello everybody. Right, so over the last few days we've had quite a lot of discussion about different promotional tools that you can use in your business. So we thought what we'd do is invite along some eBay specialists and some eBay sellers to tell you how they've been putting all of these tools into practice. So please take a seat. Right, so as Georgie said, I'm the Director of Content and Engagement at eBay. So where Murray was talking earlier on about engaging with the community, my team looks after a lot of those channels that you can use to engage on the community. So if you haven't found us already, on YouTube, look for eBay for Business UK. Same on Facebook, eBay for Business UK, and if you come onto the eBay platform, look for the community boards, and those are some great places that you can have a chat with other sellers, see what's going on, and also bring any feedback that you have for us. So that's a bit about me, but let's go to each of our speakers in turn, tell us a little bit about yourselves, and then we'll talk a bit about how business has been and some of the tools that you've been using. So, first up, Bérangère.
Thank you, Hannah. So, hello everybody, my name is Bérangère Chanfrefox. I'm the head of product marketing at eBay UK, which means I'm talking a lot about Seller Hub Promotions tool, about another or other tools with you today.
Great, Rufus.
I'm Rufus Basley. I'm the head of Seller Success UK for eBay advertising, so everything about promoted listings and getting more visibility across eBay.
Hello, I'm Hannah. I am founder and chief mischief maker at Hannah's Games. We sell hen party games, baby shower games, Christmas, Easter, all kinds of fun, really.
Hi, I'm Jack Sutcliffe, co-founder of Power Sheds. We're a manufacturer of wooden garden sheds from Bradford.
Hi, I'm Mike. I'm from Huggle Pets, and we sell everything pet related, and we're based in Wolverhampton in the West Midlands.
So, can you tell us a little bit about, for each of you, how business has been for you over the last year? What did lockdown do for your business? So, Jack, why don't we start with you?
Yeah, so we're a new company really. We're only 2.5 years old, set up at the beginning of 2019. There were just the two of us. We bought some machinery off eBay. We had released a small factory, and then we started selling sheds on eBay. The first month we sold 14, so I and my colleague Simon manufactured them, packed them, treated them, sent them, and then 2.5 years later we're now doing 700 sheds a week with 70 members of staff.
Fantastic. What a growth story. Now, Hannah, business has been a little bit different for you, hasn't it?
Yeah, I'm not one of those sellers who've been booming in the party games business, because I haven't been many parties during lockdown. However, Christmas and Easter have been really good for us, so over the odds on those ones. So it's probably equaled out about equal for us. And now picking up now, everyone's going out now.
Yeah, I think everybody's going a bit crazy now. All of those weddings that got postponed and all those parties and get-together. So I think you're probably going to have quite a busy Christmas, aren't you?
I hope so.
And then the other trend during lockdown was getting a puppy, wasn't it? Mike, tell us a little bit about how that's impacted your business.
Yeah, so almost overnight when COVID began, everything started to just sort of go full speed. So we had a lot of changes to make with our warehouse team to make sure everything was safe, but the demand was massive. So we had to adapt to that and change that, but it's been a really, really busy time throughout that period. Unfortunately, through eBay, we were pretty well set up with everything, so we were able to represent ourselves quite well.
That's brilliant. Okay, well, we'll hear a little bit more about how you've been using all the promotional tools as we go. But give us a sense of how big your businesses are now.
So,
Mike?
Yeah, so our business, we have about 30 staff.
Okay.
We've got about 20,000 square feet in warehousing. And we've got our store as well, which obviously has all the live animals and everything like that in there.
Great. Jack?
So we outgrew that small factory pretty quickly, and we moved to a new 44,000 square foot site. We've still on a lease with the old site, so we've retained that, and then we're due to bring out a new range of products, so log cabins to cater for the working from home environments. That's coming out soon. So we've now got two sites, one 10,000 square foot, one 44,000 square foot with 70 staff members.
Great. Hannah, your business is structured a bit differently, isn't it?
A little bit different. So we work from offices in our home, basically. So we've got a new warehouse, which we've just opened on our premises. It's just me and my husband, and we've got an outsourced team in the Philippines. So, yeah.
Great,
We're
fantastic.
the other end of the scale to you.
So we're here to talk about promotional tools. Now, there's different kinds of promotional tools that you can use at different stages, and I think most people are familiar with the concept of the sales funnel, that you're sort of driving visibility at the top, and then you start to convert some of those eyeballs on your listings. I think it's going to be really interesting bringing some of the examples to life on how you've used each of the different types of tools that we've got available. Now, as you're listening to the discussions that we're having here, if you do have any questions, those of you who are listening remotely, just enter the questions in. We'll get a feed of some of those coming through. If you've got your lanyard, you can scan that, ask some questions, and then you may not see that there are little monitors down here, and I'll be prompted with any questions that are coming through. But hopefully we'll have about 5 minutes towards the end to take some extra questions. But I think if we talk first about getting seen, because that's the main part of it, isn't it, Rufus? So if we were to assume people have done all the things that Murray was saying earlier on, so they've got lots of photos on their listing, they've optimized the title with lots of keywords, they've completed all the item specifics, all the required ones, the recommended, and all the extra ones that people might be searching for. They're also selling something that people want to buy at the right sort of price. So let's make it's all a given that people have done all of that. What are the things that people can do to get additional visibility over and above what they might get through organic placements in Best Match?
No problem. There's obviously there's promoted listings as a body, and there's now kind of 3 products within that. So you've got Promoted Listing Express, which is a flat fee kind of way of promoting your listing. It works really well for auction types, and it's available through the native app. Then for kind of the sellers who are more kind of desktop related, you've got Promoted Listings Standard, which is the more well-known of the promoted listings, and that's a safe to use, kind of works really well with products or listings with an established sale history, like you said, and it's a good way of getting visibility, and it shows your listing across kind of 60 plus placements across the eBay kind of portals, and it's very intent driven, and that works on a commission basis. And then now we've got Promoted Listings Advanced as well, which is for the first time you can now buy your way to position 1 within the search results. So if you've got a product or good inventory on a particular item and you know it's going to sell well, you can now buy that position on a cost per click basis and make sure that you're there when someone is typing in that keyword to find a specific item.
Great. Now that sounds great in practice, in theory, but let's put it into practice. So Hannah, I know you've been using some of the promoted listings tools, and you've been giving the new advanced tool a bit of a test run, haven't you? Can you tell us what you've been doing, how it's been working for you?
Yeah, so obviously it's early days. We only released it like a week Monday. So, but I mean, the first thing I'd say is it's incredibly cheap at the moment. So now would be the time to be going on it. I mean, I'm converting for some unbelievable keywords that I wouldn't normally be able to afford. So that's really interesting. The other thing I thought was really quite good about it was if you go in and even if you don't set up a campaign, you can see all the keywords that eBay is basically ranking you for. So if you go in, set up a Promoted Listings Advanced campaign, put in the listing, you can see. And if there's keywords and phrases that you're trying to convert for and they're not there, you know where to put them in your listing, even if you don't open the campaign. So I think it's an interesting thing. I mean, at the moment, I mean, obviously, we're taking our time to come to a learning event about our businesses. So, we are the kind of people who are going to be able to capitalize on it early on while it's cheap. So I would say get on and try it.
I think that's a really interesting thing that you found there with the keyword suggestions, because that's going to help you with organic placements as well, isn't it?
Yeah, so obviously you can just use the list, but I mean, I'm going to use Promoted Listings Advanced as I get the data. If I've got a great word that I'm bidding on because I'm getting great conversion on it, I'm going to put that in my title, I'm going to put it in my item specifics, I'm going to put it in the first 100 words, and then if eventually that gets too expensive, I've still got that data. I still know that even if I can't afford that click, then hopefully I'll be able to be there organically, but I'll know that now while it's cheap. I mean, I've got a word or a phrase that I thought was a good phrase for me, and I found out it cost me 48p for 28 clicks. I'm like, well, if I didn't get any sales after 28 clicks, then I can probably stop targeting that.
Okay,
and to find out for that lower price at the moment, I just think, get on it.
So some sort of hidden benefits, but it sounds like it's good to get in early and do your testing while it's still so cheap. I'm I'm certainly reading on the community, people are getting a lot of traffic just for spending pennies right now, because people are just starting to learn about it, get their heads around how to optimize it. And I think also for people who haven't used some of the pay-per-click products available from other places, it can take a little bit of time to learn, but now is a good time to learn about doing it.
Yeah, I think so, and I think there's you know, because there's not that knowledge in the eBay community as much, unless people have got that experience elsewhere, again, now's the time to learn, because if you want to go and learn it somewhere else, those keywords are very expensive. I mean, my top bid's 5p at the moment, call me a cheapskate, but I'm converting on 5p on really, really good keywords.
Great, and then Jack, I know you've been using the promoted listing standard product for a little bit. Can you just talk about your experiences with that?
Yeah, with the sponsored listings, we've had a little bit of a go. We've been quite fortunate that the demand, well, everybody's been doing up the garden for the past year, so we haven't had to promote that heavily. Only in certain times of the year or certain downturns we might have tried it a little bit. Probably the challenge we've had is, because our order value is quite high, it means that we don't actually make that many transactions, we don't sell that many buildings, and it makes it a little bit harder to measure. So we've been using some of the other tools more so rather than those.
Yeah, so you just don't have the same volume of data that Hannah has to be able to assess how well it's working for you. But I think that's the thing, isn't it? With all of these promotional tools, everybody's got to make their own assessment on which one is going to be best for their own business, and also to think about what your margins are and where you want to assign that margin. Is it on advertising? Is it on doing a multi-buy? Is it on doing fast and free shipping? So I think everybody's got to make their own decisions on what's right for their business. But I think the other thing, Rufus, we were talking about as we were getting ready, was that there are a lot of benefits to optimizing for your item specifics and doing all of that groundwork, because that also is something that the promoted listings program looks at, doesn't it?
Definitely. So promoted listings, specifically standard, it focuses on the sales history of an item. So you do need to make sure that it's something that's converting, that's selling regularly, that is of interest to people. We had one interesting user case of someone who sells charger cables, and they spotted that they were cheaper than their competitors for it, and they used promoted listings advanced to leapfrog to the top of that position, and then increase the velocity of sales they were doing over that time period. So there's lots of user cases. You need to be aware of your market, and then also aware of what products are the ones that people are after to buy.
Okay, so we talked about getting the visibility on your listings. We now need to convert them, and let's make the assumption it's a good quality listing. Let's talk about some of the promotional tools that you're using. So I think, Jack, given that promoted listings has been a bit more challenging for you to track, what are the tools that you've been using?
Yeah, so obviously we've stayed away from multi-buy due to the fact that you generally only buy one shed. So we've gone for the sales events and the discounting. The sales events, I mean, it's a very seasonal product, so it's coming into the worst weather now. So this is the time of the year where we'll start to use this more, particularly Black Friday, over Christmas, January. We'll start to use the sales events to try and drive sales. We've got 70 staff to keep busy in the next 3 or 4 months before spring starts again. So we'll be using the tools to drive as many sales as we possibly can.
Yes, I suppose that helps you to even out some of those peaks and troughs in the year and keep the staff busy. Yeah,
it's important to us. We don't want to let anybody go, so we want to keep everybody busy. And the margin will be smaller, but we want to keep them because they've all been trained up and go again next year.
Yeah, but I would imagine, Mike, with all those new puppies to buy presents for, we might be looking at a good Christmas for you and your staff. But tell us a bit about how you're using some of these promotional tools.
Well, the opposite to Jack, really. We use multi-buy on almost everything, because as you mentioned, if someone's having a new puppy or a kitten, they're not looking for one thing. They could be buying food, treats, toys, a bed. So we try and incentivise them to get multiple items, give them a saving, but basically we work out then we can be able to ship items together in one delivery. So it raises the spend with us, the basket total, but it gives them a good deal. We kind of try and do that across a wide range, if not all of our products, really.
Now, when I look look at some of the discussions that people have on the community, and we also look at some of the people who have YouTube channels about running a business on eBay. The one tool that a lot of people have had really good experiences with and help them feel a bit more in control is sending an offer out to buyers. I can see some nodding heads already on this. So Mike, let's go to you first. How are you using that feature?
Well, what we tend to do is we will not use it all the time in sort of a machine gun approach, but what we'll try and do is we'll select areas of the month where we may have natural dips just because of history we know, and we'll send offers just before that. So similar to what Jack said about staying busy consistently, we'll send those offers out in advance to make sure that we've got extra orders coming in. The customers obviously get a good deal, but it's a set price. We don't enter into letting them re-offer again. We just give them sort of our best offer sort of first time if they want to take it up.
Okay, and what's the reason for not wanting to get into negotiations, I suppose? Because it depends on different kinds of categories. I mean, something high value, you might want to get into a negotiation on the price.
Yeah, well, what we tend to do, or we tend to think about is if we make someone an offer, we'll make them the best offer. Because that will save our customer service team time. So there's not a lot of to and fro in, sort of discussing, you know, a few pennies here or there. So it's kind of like a last and final offer we make, because it's sort of the best place we could go to anyway.
Yeah. But I think, Hannah, you take a different approach, don't you?
Yeah, so I love seller-initiated offer. It's great. I think it's a great way to give away a discount without advertising it on your listing. So if I do a sale event, then I've lowered the price of my listing. Everyone knows I'm doing that, whereas I can give targeted offers and that gets the flywheel going on that listing. So I would generally make a judgment if I'll get into the argy-bargy of the negotiation based on when the last sale was. So if I'm like, actually, I just really need a sale on this, you know, this is a little bit down today, then I'll look at it more like that. But then if someone does come back with a silly offer or whatever, I just have like set text that I'll be like, sorry, can't go that low, I'll offer you this, and then I'll cut it off, same as you. So
I probably shouldn't say this, but I know as a buyer, I've started to adapt my buying behaviour by like, I quite fancy this and this. I'm going to start watching it, see if I get an offer back. But Bérangère, you're the specialist on a lot of these promotional tools, and we haven't heard much from you yet. I thought we'd save the best till last, because you know all of these tools inside out.
No, but it's always, you know, great to hear the real life example of all of these tools are used, and they are there to be able for every sellers to make their choices, as you said. I think maybe the thing that I would add is that we just launched a new tool actually called Coded Coupons, which you may have or not tried. And I think the great thing with Coded Coupon is that it's not just another promotional tools. It looked at all of the different things that multi-buy or sell event and order discount can do, but it's also giving you ways to reach out to the buyers. So, for example, the experience that we were discussing, you can add coupons to an offer to buyers. So instead of just saying, well, this item's 5%, 10% off, you can just say, okay, well, if you're not interested by this particular item, here is a coupon on my store. It could be also a way to build a loyal base and having buyers coming back to your listings. And so just on Seller Hub at the moment, you can print coded coupons directly from Seller Hub orders. You can send them and add them as well to offer to buyers.
Yeah, you mentioned Seller Hub there. That's the main place to find a lot of these promotional tools. It's the marketing tab, isn't it?
So Seller Hub marketing tab is the home of Seller Hub promotions. There is actually a create promotion menu where you can have all of them. They are also coming a little bit somewhere else. So if you are in active listings, there is a column about promotions which give you tools and ideas to engage with promotions on your listings. And there may be a little bit more coming here because we, as you know, we're spending quite a lot of time to try to be sure about what is the best promotional tool for each listings. And this is coming in Seller Hub Active Listing. It's also coming through the listing quality report that we will be talking about in a few minutes.
Sneaky plug there for your next panel. Okay, so with all of these promotional tools, I know some of you have got staff and you might need to teach them how to use it. On our eBay for Business YouTube channel, so if you look for eBay for Business UK on YouTube, you can actually find quite a lot of tutorial content showing you step by step how to set up a lot of these promotions. And I think we'll probably have some more videos coming soon for some of the promoted listings. I know, Bérangère, you're in one of the videos, aren't you, talking about some of this. Now, I'm just looking to see what questions. We're sat down and I can't really see them here. Okay, so the first one, there's lots of different promotion types. Which one gets the best results? I think it probably depends, isn't it?
Yeah, it depends on the inventory, it depends on the timing, it depends on how much margin the sellers wants to give back. I think my advice here would be to try in different things.
Okay, right, we've got another question. This one's about offers, and I assume it might be to do with best offer. How do I stop people sending me lowball offers? You take that one, Hannah, go on.
Every time you get an offer on your listing, that is a gift to you as a seller, because that buyer is telling the eBay algorithm that your stuff is good. So I'm just like, yep, thank you very much. I have stock answers which say, thank you very much. Sorry, I can't go that low. Here's a coupon for whatever. So then I'd link it into the coded coupon. So and they might take it, they might not, they might come out with another one, but I'm like, every time you give me an offer, you are training the algorithm to like my stuff. So I don't see it as a negative, sorry.
Okay, and I guess, Mike, if you get lowball offers, if you already got it set up to auto-decline, yeah.
With a polite note, basically, yeah. So it doesn't clog up the customer service team. It's all sort of pre-set up based on the items and the margins.
Great. Okay, I'm going to have to stand up to have a look at this site. Oh, here's a good one. Could a listing ever appear in the #1 spot of search results without it being promoted? Oh, Rufus.
Yeah,
and that one I think is a bit of a depends, isn't it?
Yeah, there's definitely a bit of a depends. It's obviously if no one was bidding on that keyword, then obviously there would be a #1 spot that could be filled by the organic. And then there's various other ways. It's still, the algorithm is still based on relevancy ultimately. So even when you're buying your way to the top, if you're selling a laptop and you're bidding on a keyword about pet toys, then obviously it's not going to put you there. So there's still a relevancy angle to it as well.
And I think this is what's interesting about the way that people search. Because what I've certainly found, and this might be anecdotal, is that when people are in the early stages of researching a product, they'll put in quite broad keywords, won't they? So it might be, I don't know, cooker that they're looking for. But as they get much more further down that buying funnel, they get really specific about the model, the size, the colour, everything else. And that, I think, what would be your view on advertising there?
So for me, it's kind of when you set up a campaign, you need to get targeted. So you start off kind of broad, and so there's different match types. You've got phrase match and you've got broad and exact match at the moment. So phrase match, you might put in cooker, and then if someone types in, I don't know, hot point cooker or something like that, you would show up, okay, because it's phrase. But then once you know that actually that's a converting keyword, you can then move that exact match keyword into a new ad group, focus on that, set your bids and your budget that you're willing to pay for that particular keyword, and really target down. And it's kind of, we've got two main recommendations for anyone experimenting with promoted listings advanced, and it's purely be targeted. Go for one kind of leaf category per ad group, and then try and add a big range of keywords to it. So 10 plus keywords to start off with, and then really focus down on what converts and negative match things that don't.
Okay, so I think like Hannah's experience, it's worth spending a bit of time just investing in it and being quite thoughtful about how you're setting up these campaigns.
Definitely. I'm hoping we can have a session later
to
talk about this in more detail of what you've done, and then look at kind of ways we can optimise it.
Would you put them in a different ad group when you exact them?
I go for it, try and organise it a little bit. So I would actually set up one campaign that's kind of phrase match campaign, and then as I find converting things, I'd have a new campaign with ad groups underneath that would do it, but that's just how my mind works.
We're gonna
It's
get
really, you kind of, yeah, so we'll probably stop here because it will go too depth.
Bit of free consultancy going on there. But I'm surprised you're not giving more tips to Jack. I heard earlier on you're a customer.
Actually, again, I think promoted listings advanced could be really good for you because you're right, kind of, you need the sales history around listings when you're using promoted listing standard. So we know that there's seasonality with sheds. We know that there's specific keywords that people are going to be looking for. So, for example, I bought one of your sheds during the summer actually, and I was very specifically after a.
Still standing.
Yeah, it's actually. I'll show you. I'll show you more pictures later. But I've put shelves up and all sorts in there now. Yeah, I'm that bad. I think with promoted listings advanced, you'd be able to focus on kind of when I was searching, I was looking for a 4x6 shed. And it's kind of, you might not want to go in there and put all of those in, but you can target those kind of keywords and get quite specific on it and make sure you're in the #1 position when you're there. And then likewise at key points in the year, you can be like, right, it's coming up to the summer season, we're doing whatever activities, I want to be #1 and therefore I can bid on it then. And then over Christmas when maybe less sheds are bought, you can slow down your advertisement at that point. So there's a bit of flexibility and seasonality that could be taken into account, but I think you could use some of these to your advantage now that they're available.
Okay, well now we've got a few more questions popping up. Ooh, Promotional, I think this one might be for you. When sending an offer to watchers, if you add a coupon, can the buyer use both at the same time?
So no.
No.
No is the answer because the coupons are not stackable. So the offer to buyers will take priority. And it's actually slightly different is that the offer to buyers is sent. If it is accepted, then the coupon is not sent. The coupon is sent if the offer is not accepted. To actually encourage people to come back to your listings.
Okay, so people can't just combine a coupon and an offer. So if you're accepting an offer, you don't need to worry about extra things coming off it.
It's also the same thing between coded coupons and multi-buy and order discounts. So if for example, as Mike was talking about, you have multi-buy on your listing as a standard nearly, and then they had a coupon on top of it, it will be actually the deepest discount that will be counted, but not both.
Yeah, because I think that's, for a lot of people I've spoken to, margin is top of mind. And obviously being concerned about multiple different promotions being taken off and eroding that margin, it might be a little bit off-putting, but if they can only use one at a time, that's useful to know.
It's not coded coupons and multi-buy, it's not a double dip. You will not have both, you will only have one that is applied. It's different if you use a markdown or a sell event, because the sell event and the markdown, because a markdown and a sell event is actually a reduction of the price. So then in this case, if there is also a coded coupons, then both will be will apply.
You know that because it's already marked down and that is your new price for a temporary point in time.
I have to say also with coded coupons, there are ways to manage your spend, especially with having a minimum spend actually, for example, or a maximum discount. That's the way also to manage expectations with your buyers.
Okay, I think we've got time for one more question. Rufus, I think it's all about promoted listings today. What are the main differences between promoted listings standard, so what was just promoted listings before, and the new promoted listings advanced? Maybe let's focus on how you get charged for them first.
Okay. So it's really kind of promoted listings standard, which was the promoted listings that most people will be aware of. It's a CPA model, cost per acquisition. So it's literally a sales commission. So if someone sees your ad in one of those 60 plus placements and they click on that advert, within 30 days of that click and they purchase that item, then you pay a commission for that sale. If that person doesn't go on and buy anything, you don't pay anything for that advertisement. So it tends to be a much safer, kind of almost more kind of, you can automate it more because you know that you're not going to overspend. You set the percentage that you're willing to pay and it kind of runs automatically. Whereas promoted listing advanced is a cost per click model, so CPC. And it's really, you need to monitor these when you're running them. So it's all about monitoring, optimization, and kind of being a bit more careful with what you're spending money on. Obviously, you don't want to spend too much money on a keyword that doesn't work, but that's why the tool allows you to negative match keywords. So if you find out that one particular keyword is costing you 48p and it didn't make a sale, then you can negative match that and know that you're not going to be charged any more money for appearing in that spot, and just focus your budget on the keywords that are actually generating the sales
and I've
for
heard
you.
from some sellers that if they're selling fairly high value items, it can actually be better for them to do the cost per click because they could be paying pennies right now.
Well, absolutely. If you're selling a shed, for example, and they cost £500 plus or whatever it is, if you're paying 5%, that's a considerable amount of money. Whereas on a cost per click model, if you're only paying 5p a click or 10p a click, it can be remarkably cheaper for doing it. So there are situations where it can be a lot more cost effective. But again, I wouldn't necessarily recommend doing one or the other. You need to test which one works for your type of inventory. And in some circumstances, it might be actually a combination of both works better for you, or it might be just one works better for you.
Great. So I think some really good tips there. So thank you, everybody. Get more tips and guidance from the eBay team by subscribing to our channel on YouTube and click the bell icon to enable notifications. YouTube will let you know as soon as new videos are available.